Just a few comments. I appreciate the opposition that would like to see money that would be otherwise be spent on enhancements on treatment. In pharmacy school, we learned something called the lethal dose in 50% of the people that take a particular drug. With morphine, that is the standard for narcotics, that measurement is in milligrams. Fentanyl, that measurement is in micrograms or 1,000 times less. With carfentanil, it's in nanograms, which is even 1,000 times less than micrograms. So if somebody came into basically 3 grains of salt the size of carfentanil and was able to ingest that, it would be fatal. 1 kilogram of carfentanil can overdose 50 million people. What does that mean? That means that 14 pounds of carfentanil coming into the United States could kill every living citizen in the United States. It's how potent, and that's how dangerous it is. And at least with heroin, sometimes you get a second chance if you're a new user and you don't die from respiratory depression. With fentanyl, with carfentanil, many times there are no second chances. And it's not always cut. These purveyors of these narcotics find that the active ingredients in carfentanil, fentanyl are much cheaper to produce. They don't have to come from the opium poppy where you have to get the resin to get the morphine, and then through a process called acetylation. Diacetylmorphine is heroin, which is 50 times stronger than morphine. So we have a public health crisis. Even in Sacramento, I believe last July, we had 30 overdoses, 30 fatalities of people that were experimenting with these drugs that they thought was morphine or they thought was heroin. And they died. If you look at the statistics in Ohio, we're talking about hundreds of people that have been experimenting and dying, and that these drugs are moving west fast. And my concern is not only about the kids that are experimenting and playing basically Russian roulette with what's being marketed as OxyContin and marketed as heroin, but basically a fatal dose of another drug. But I'm also worried about when they go into respiratory distress and they go to the hospital via an ambulance. All the public safety officers have to do is just come into topical contact with carfentanil or fentanyl, and they themselves could be put in jeopardy. Fentanyl, oh, by the way, heroin is a Schedule I drug. Fentanyl, carfentanil are Schedule II. Carfentanil is so potent that you can't use it in humans. They use it in veterinary medicine to tranquilize an elephant. And even then, they use it in very small concentrations. We don't see too much of it here in the United States. But fentanyl is used commonly in surgeries. When you go under, usually they'll give you fentanyl. Again, it's measured in micrograms. 50 micrograms per mil is the largest strength you can get commercially in the United States. It comes in patches. You've all heard about Duragesic patches. Well, those are fentanyl patches. And also for people that have terminal illnesses, they give them suckers that have fentanyl in them called Actique, where they can lick it and then they get enough and they get the pain relief. They put it down on a plate and they resume when they need it. So this bill is talking about an enhancement for people that are bringing in large volumes of these dangerous drugs. And I can tell you that those distributors, if you track the pathway of these drugs, you're going to find that they've killed people. So they're actually alleged murderers because they don't come with instructions on how to use it. They don't come with instructions telling you what the ingredients are. They misrepresent what's in there, and that's what's causing a lot of morbidity and mortality, and again, no second chances. So I think this is an instance where you should have an enhancement. People need to understand the ramifications of bringing these dangerous substances into our communities and poisoning our children, causing their premature death, where there is virtually no second chance. Once you've taken the overdose and you're by yourself, you go into respiratory depression, you die. So I would hope that the committee will support the bill as written. I want to commend Senator Bates for recognizing the public health crisis that exists, and we need to do more to educate the community about the counterfeit medications that they're receiving that are deadly, and that they're playing Russian roulette with their lives and their experimentation with these deadly drugs. I appreciate your support of the bill.